Hey everyone, Dave here, and today I'm going to be reviewing 1759 Siege of Quebec from Worthington Games. This is part of their Great Siege series. This is something brand new, and I actually have playthroughs filmed for both sides as the solo game. One side for the French, one side for the British. Make sure that you get over and click the links in the video description below, and you can check them out to see how they are played. So, really quickly before we go down to the table and talk about things a little bit more in depth, war games are not something that I typically play, but I'm looking to expand my game tastes, and I'll tell you what, the Great Siege series intrigued me because of two things. Number one, it's a solo play, and number two, it has a relatively short playing time. I don't have a lot of time to play games, and some of the war games can be long and drawn out. This is actually something that can be played in under an hour. In fact, depending upon how bad things go and how quickly your turns are going to progress, you can get a game played in about a half an hour. So, so you can actually get a war game experience in a little bit of time. So that was definitely something that was appealing. And looking at this game, very, very simple rules and really easy to set up. So it's definitely something that that you're going to, if you're looking for something and looking to expand your gaming tastes, then this is something that you might want to take a look at. So anyways, let's flip the camera around. We're going to go down to the table and we'll talk about things more in depth. All right, well, as we get down to the table, let's first talk about the production quality of this game. We've got a really, really nice, sturdy board that the map is mounted on, and we have nice chunky pieces for all of our different units that are going to go on the board. And the map artwork is functional. I actually like the shading and the tone of the colors on this one. And then we have our two order books. This one is for the French. This one is over for the British. And then we also have our rule book that explains everything. Now there is even an option to play the game 2 players, and there's an additional deck that you used for that. But I will have to do a future video on the playing this as 2-player. But it's primarily a solo game. The rule book is very, very well laid out. As the game overview talks about the game board, and then it talks about how to set up your deck size based upon how you want your opponent to be, and a nice breakdown of what the card is here and a little bit of the history that's in there. So the game, the instruction booklet is only 12 pages, and on the back there's really cool here's history of this this campaign. Talks about everything here. And then there's a little bit about the designer and historical notes about this particular battle. So just a really, really good, well-written rule book. And then let's talk about the game itself. This is not a complicated game in terms of how to play. It's actually very, very simple. And this is one of the things that was an appeal to me. This and the short playtime. Look, you literally are going to choose an action and flip over a card and see how the AI is going to respond. And then typically you're going to roll a die and you're going to resolve the effects that are on there. So, but on your turn, you're kind of hoping to, whatever you choose, you're hoping that it's going to turn out in your favor. So if you saw in our playthrough, I was actually adding my own narrative, talking about things, trying to impose my own thoughts as to what was going through the troops' minds and what was going on, because in essence in this game you are commanding actions, what's going on. So, and it's it's interesting because when you do move something, when you're moving stuff, you're not moving into enemy territories. You have fixed spaces on the board to put yourself into position. Now, when we get into this game, this is where I want to talk about some of the things that make this appealing to me. It's not overwhelming in terms of what you can do in the game. You literally have just a few set actions that you can do, but then you have the option of making it a little bit more aggressive and trying to up the stakes, but it's going to come at a bigger cost. So, and the more aggressive you're doing it, that each time that you try to make an aggressive attack, and you only have 4 per game, if you notice, it's going to become more, and it's going to become harder and harder on whoever the aggressor is. So now, there's a couple things that are dependent upon luck. You don't really know what the like what card you're going to flip over is going to bring. You're going to choose an action and hope that it turns out well for you, and then and then again how the outcome is going to be affected by the die rolls. But there are some interesting things about this. So let's say, for example, that I was going to choose to send out Indian raids. So I chose this action. And I flip over the card, and this is what it says. It says, Guns of Quebec. So proceed with the order as issued, or I can cancel the order issued and engage with the Guns of Quebec. And if engaging with the Guns of Quebec, roll 1 die and use the results below. Well, and then at the bottom, we see it says defend Lower Quebec. So if we look over here on the raids, and we look at this outcome here, defend Lower Quebec, well, the only way that we're going to come out on top is by rolling a 5 or a 6 to drive down British morale. And we look at this table over here, and what are our options? Well, if we roll a 5 or 6, we can move 1 British ship to safe anchorage. Well, in this particular spot in the game when it ended, we have 2 British ships here in the upper St. Lawrence area. It would be nice to push them all the way back up there to repel them. And when they only have 1 boat in position, they cannot move their troops down here. So right now, this, you have the option, okay, do I just want to cancel the order, and allow time to go by, or do we want to roll a 5 or a 6? Or actually, what we can do, if we proceed with this particular order also, if we proceed with this order, we need to roll a 5 or 6. And reducing British morale, sure, that's important, but weighed against this option over here of rolling a 5 or a 6 to be able to move a British ship back, I think that we're going to cancel the Indian raids and we're going to engage with the Guns of Quebec. And so this is some of the decisions that are going to be made throughout the game, and then I don't find them to be too taxing. But I just kind of found this to be a game it's fun to play. And, it's got a lot of historical aspects to it, a lot of, with the flavor text, the artwork, reading about it, it just makes you more in tune with history, being able to reenact things. It's a really good, it's a good system for learning how to play war games, but you're going to have to be okay with everything being based upon luck. And you have like a double aspect of luck. You have the luck of whatever card comes up, and then the luck of the die roll. But overall, I think that this system is really, really cool, and I'm looking forward to checking it out more. In terms of the playing on both sides, you have an asymmetrical aspect of it. One side, if you're playing as the British, you are playing as the aggressor, the one who is performing the siege, trying to deplete the French forces and take over the city. Whereas when you play the French, you are the one who is being besieged, and so you are trying to basically hold out until the French until the British are done. So you get 2 different playing experiences. I found both of them to be pretty interesting, and I'm looking forward to playing them both more. So hopefully this will give you a little bit more of my thoughts of this particular game system. Like I said, I really, really like it. It's a simple system for you to get into. I'm sure kids can even figure out how to play this, and couple it up with a history lesson, and it is something that is worth talking about. Now, if you're interested in seeing the playthroughs, make sure you click the links in the video description below. And also in the future, when I get a chance to get with one of my friends, we will be filming a 2-player playthrough of 1759 as well. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like and subscribe. It keeps me able to keep you up to date with content as it's coming out, and then also it helps me in working with publishers to bring you exciting games. So, all right, well, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.